Hello there, I'm Krifa Zachary and you're watching All 24 News World News program live from the capital Algiers. Next up are the headlines. Gruesome massacres in Sudan's El Fasher spark outrage. The government accuses rapid support forces of genocide and kidnapping medics, urging the world to step in and stop the bloodshed. Also in our news, in the occupied Sahrawi territories, Morocco tightens its siege and blocks protests calling for independence. Rights groups stand by international law and the right to self-determination, while the EU Parliament warns of risks in trade deals exploiting Sahrawi resources. Next up, at Al Muradia Palace, President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune received credentials from 6 new ambassadors, reaffirming Algeria's push for global partnerships, Africa's development, and stronger ties with China and Russia, including a nuclear energy cooperation draft with Moscow. And later on in Palestine, occupation forces carried out new executions in the occupied West Bank and stepped up strikes on Gaza despite the truce. Aid remains blocked and Hamas has suspended the return of prisoners' body in response. The full reports are straight ahead. Welcome back to the program. It's great to have you with us tonight. First up in our news, in Sudan, reports from the Joint Force say the Rapid Support Forces have carried out what they are calling horrific massacres in El Fasher, killing more than 2,000 unarmed civilians since Sunday, mostly women, children, and the elderly. The government strongly condemned what it described as terrorist crimes, accusing the RSF of systematic killings and starvation tactics aimed at wiping out the city's population. The Foreign Ministry says El Fasher has been under siege for nearly 2 years and warns that even worse massacres could be on the way.
The government of Sudan strongly condemns, in the harshest terms, the horrific terrorist crimes committed by the Rapid Support Forces militia in the city of El Fasher, capital North Darfur state. The militia has carried out and continues to carry out systematic acts of ethnic killing and terror against unarmed civilians, including women, children, and the elderly. The militia's war against the Sudanese people has set a historic precedent.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Kamil Idris has urged the international community to step in urgently after El Fasher and Bara fell under RSF control. He says reports point to serious violations by what he called the Rapid Support Militia, stressing that government forces remain committed to humanitarian law despite tough conditions on the ground. And in reaction, the African Union is speaking out over the violence in El Fasher. AU Commission Chair Mahmoud Ali Youssef condemned what he called horrific violations after the city fell under Rapid Support Forces control. In a statement on Tuesday, he urged both sides to stop the fighting right away and open humanitarian corridors to get aid to those trapped and suffering in the city. Similarly, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD, has condemned the violence against civilians in El Fasher after the Rapid Support Forces took control of the city. In a statement on Tuesday, the bloc called for an immediate ceasefire and voiced deep concern over the worsening humanitarian crisis 2 years into the RSF siege of El Fasher. Moving on now to the occupied Sahrawi territories, the Moroccan occupation has tightened its blockade, stepping up repression and violations against Sahrawi civilians and activists. According to the Sahrawi news agency, Moroccan forces have ramped up surveillance on human rights defenders and banned all peaceful protests, rejecting moves to legitimize the occupation. Similarly, in occupied Dakhla, Sahrawi activists have launched fresh protests demanding self-determination and independence. The human rights group Qadessa says the rallies denounce Morocco's ongoing abuses and expose what it calls the Makhzen's attempts to whitewash its record. The group stresses that demonstrations prove the Sahrawi people remain steadfast in defending their political and social rights. Meanwhile, Sahrawi communities in Spain echoed the same call, backing the Popular Front and rejecting any move that undermines international law. The Association for the Control of Resources and Environmental Protection in Western Sahara has reaffirmed its support for international law and the Sahrawi people's right to self-determination. The group says the Sahrawi struggle will continue through peaceful and political means until freedom and independence are achieved. Carmen Crespo, who heads the European Parliament's Fisheries Committee, has warned about the risks of a new trade deal between the EU and Morocco that includes products from occupied Western Sahara. Speaking on Tuesday, the Spanish lawmaker urged Madrid to tighten border control and step up port inspections to ensure proper monitoring and traceability of imports. Spanish farming groups are voicing anger over what they call government inaction on fraud involving cherry tomatoes from occupied Western Sahara sold in Spain as Moroccan produce.
EU regulations prohibit misleading consumers about the country of origin of products, yet the ministry has taken no action or practical steps in response to the complaint. The European Commission has reminded EU member states of the need to comply with the European Court of Justice October 2024 ruling, which stipulates that the origin of products grown in Western Sahara must be clearly indicated and must not be labeled as Moroccan.
On a related note, Algeria's mission to the United Nations has once again stressed the need to let colonized peoples exercise their right to self-determination. And speaking at the UN General Assembly Committee meeting on the right to development, the delegation urged the international community to guarantee fair and equal access to development for all nations.
We are convinced that the international community must redouble its efforts to ensure the full and effective realization of the right to development. This right is fundamental to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, and it's integral to essential international frameworks.
And in Algeria, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received the credentials of 6 new ambassadors in Algiers on Tuesday, representing Bangladesh, Austria, Sweden, Ukraine, Rwanda, and Egypt. The diplomats praised Algeria's growing role as regional and international partner, from investment and stability efforts to energy cooperation. Austria's envoy highlighted Algeria's key part in Europe's energy transition, while Rwanda's ambassador hailed plans to open an embassy in Algiers. Egypt's representative praised Algeria's strong regional leadership, and Sweden's ambassador commended its active role at the UN Security Council. Still with the President of the Republic activities, Abdelmajid Tebboune has called for a clear and practical roadmap to turn Africa's political promises into real action on the ground. Sous Nasri at the Infrastructure Financing Summit in Luanda, Tebboune urged faster progress on key continental projects and stressed the need for flexible, innovative funding, including joint African sovereign funds to boost the continent's economic sovereignty and integration.
Believing in the pivotal role of infrastructure in achieving continental integration and strengthening Africa's economic sovereignty, Algeria calls for adopting a clear and practical vision that goes beyond political commitment to tangible implementation mechanism based on the following: accelerating the completion of major continental projects included in the African Infrastructure Development Initiative within set timelines, while ensuring continuous political and technical follow-up at the highest levels, establishing a permanent coordination mechanism between African countries, the African Union and regional financial institutions to ensure the effective execution of priority projects and the exchange of technical and financial expertise.
President Abdelmajid Tebboune has reaffirmed Algeria's full commitment to driving Africa's development and deepening economic integration. He said Algeria remains dedicated to building a strong, united, and prosperous continent, urging that Africa's shared vision be turned into real action on the ground. Abdelmajid Tebboune added that Algeria is ready or already rolling out around 50 major infrastructure projects as part of a broader strategy to boost growth and competitiveness.
إن الجزائر التي ظلت مؤمنة
Algeria, which has always believed in the unity of Africa's destiny and remained committed to the principles of solidarity and fraternity, its steadfast commitment to supporting comprehensive development across the continent. Algeria has undertaken major strategic projects with a continental dimension and has been keen to mobilize local resources while opening up to innovative and multilateral partnerships in collaboration with regional and international financial institutions. Through various phases, Algeria has played an active role in supporting African development by implementing promising projects that reflect its firm conviction that cooperation and integration are the most effective paths to achieving shared prosperity.
لتحقيق الرفاه المشترك.
Still with Algeria-related news, Algeria and Russia are gearing up, to sign a cooperation deal on the peaceful use of nuclear energy as part of Algeria's National Nuclear Development Plan. The head of Algeria's Atomic Energy Agency, Abdelhamid Mallah, said the agreement with Russia's Rosatom will focus on sharing expertise and transferring technology to strengthen Algeria's capabilities in the field. Rosatom's deputy chief, Boris Arsepiv, confirmed Moscow's support for Algeria's nuclear projects, particularly in medical applications.
هذا اللقاء مع الشركة الروسية
This meeting with the Russian nuclear energy company took place under the supervision of the governor of atomic energy. There will be a special session on nuclear medicine in the presence of experts to exchange experiences between the governor of atomic energy and the Russian company. During this meeting, we discussed a cooperation program under the instructions of the Minister of Energy and Renewable Energies, and an agreement will be signed in this regard.
إبرام اتفاقية في هذا الصدد.
Participants at the Grand Industrial Exhibition in Iran have hailed Algeria's huge investment potential, saying it's paving the way for real industrial takeoff that could make the country a major player in regional and continental economic growth. The details with Karim Mustafawi now.
Algeria is redefining the shape of its industrial policy with an ambitious vision by aiming to attract the attention of major global economic actors who consider the Algerian market as a gateway to Africa. During their participation in the major industrial exhibition taking place in Iran, many representatives of leading industrial companies from Asia and Europe highlighted the country's investment potential.
Nous avons ouvert un bureau commercial et services à Alger.
Last year, we opened the commercial and after-sales office in Algiers, a move that reflects the company's confidence in the country's industrial potential. With its natural resources and growing youth population, Algeria is one of the three fastest-growing African markets, as the packaging industry is directly linked to population growth and consumption, with 70% of this sector primarily focused on food packaging.
The foreign investors shared a common perspective. Algeria is moving steadily toward diversifying its economy and improving the business climate through far-reaching reforms whose results are reflected in solid economic and financial indicators.
Mitsubishi systems are primarily based on industrial automation and digital transformation, technologies that are now essential for the development of Algerian industry. These solutions offered by the company range from industrial control, software, to robots that manage repetitive production processes with high efficiency. Iran needs space like this to exchange experiences in the field of technology. I hope that the next phase will see more local industrial investment, with a shift towards green and sustainable production.
Confidence among foreign investors in new Algeria's economy is steadily growing and becoming evident as the government is working to lay the foundations of a stronger economy by opening its doors to international partnerships under the principle of win-win deals.
Moving on now to developments in the Middle East, Israeli occupation forces shot and killed 3 Palestinian youths early Tuesday near Jenin in the occupied West Bank before seizing their bodies. According to local sources, troops stormed the area with heavy reinforcements, opened fire, and shelled a vehicle, setting it ablaze. Elsewhere in the West Bank, occupation forces carried out more raids, arresting 5 Palestinians, including a child, in Ramallah and Jenin. Similarly, occupation forces bombed several parts of Gaza overnight, breaking the ceasefire yet again. Palestinian media say a drone strike hit near Al Shifa hospital, while other raids targeted a shot-at camp in areas east of Deir el-Balah. One person also died from earlier wounds near Khan Yunis. Gaza's media office says Israel has now violated the truce 125 times, killing 94 people and wounding more than 340, while still blocking aid. Officials add that 568 bodies have been pulled from under the rebel, bringing the death toll since October 2023 to over 68,500. Meanwhile, Khalil Ad-Dakran, spokesperson for Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital in Gaza, says only 9 medical aid trucks have entered the strip since the ceasefire began, nowhere near enough to meet urgent needs. He told the Palestinian Information Center that about 2/3 of medical supplies are completely depleted, while outbreaks of diseases like viral hepatitis are spreading fast, with over 70,000 cases reported. In related news, Spain's representative to the United Nations has urged the Security Council to pressure the Zionist entity to lift its blockade on Gaza and ease restrictions on UN relief agencies, especially UNRWA. Speaking at a UN session on the Middle East, Madrid warned of the worsening humanitarian crisis and called for aid organizations to be allowed to work freely to ease the suffering of Palestinians.
The implementation of two-state solution, together with the United States peace plan, opens a new and hopeful space for dialogue and diplomacy. The pressure exerted by the international community has been decisive in holding hostilities and securing the release of hostages. We do need more definition of the timeline. All of our efforts should go toward one goal.
The BDS movement in Morocco has accused the Makhzen regime of helping supply weapons to the Zionist entity, saying it's complicit in war crimes against Palestinians. In a statement on Facebook, the group condemned the government's decision to allow what it called extermination ships to dock in Moroccan ports after a shipment of weapons was reportedly unloaded in Tangier on Monday for transfer to the occupied territories.
Despite popular opposition, the ship Maersk Detroit returned to Tangier port, docking on Monday morning, October 27th, to unload containers classified as hazardous cargo, which were then to be transferred to another ship to the occupied ports of Haifa and Ashdod. This obstinacy, along with the lack of response to complaints filed with the public prosecutor on the matter, confirms the blatant and public complicity of Moroccan authorities in facilitating the occupation's crimes against humanity in Palestine.
Under a cloud of tear gas, Palestinian farmers, joined by volunteers and foreign activists, came under attack from settlers and Zionist forces while trying to harvest their olives in the West Bank village of Turmus Aya. The area, officially recognized as Palestinian territory, has faced constant assaults aimed at driving residents off their land. Report by Selman Asset.
Beneath a thick cloud of tear gas, Palestinian farmers, joined by volunteers and international activists, struggle to reach their olive groves under a coordinated assault by settlers and Zionist forces. Heavy volleys and gas canisters drive them back, blocking access to lands that under international accords lie within Area B and are officially recognized as Palestinian territory.
A group of settlers gathered, visibly preparing and putting on masks. Vehicles arrived from the Shiloh settlement. It was clear that the situation was about to escalate, due to the ban preventing Palestinians from reaching their olive trees. The area is classified as Zone B. That's where we are here. That's where we are now. It's evident that there is no implicit decision by the Israeli government and the settlers to prevent anyone from assessing the olive groves.
In the valley village of Turmus Aya, surrounded by hills with settlements and outposts, such attacks have become routine. Farmers there face daily harassment, part of a systematic effort to sever their link with their land and pave the way for further confiscation and settlement expansion.
Every day, settlers carry out attacks in areas under Palestinian Authority control, including those classified as Zone B. Even in some areas designated as Zone A, Palestinian residents are being prevented from harvesting their olives.
The presence of foreign activists was meant to deter armed settlers from attacking Palestinian villagers, as they often do. Over the past 2 years, olive oil production has plunged as recurring assaults continue to bar farmers from their groves.
Moving on now to another topical news story. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned that Russian forces are close to capturing Pokrovsk, a key eastern city. He said around 200 Russian soldiers have entered the city, threatening to cut supply lines and give Moscow control over Donetsk and Dnipro regions. Zelensky urged the West for more support to sustain the fight for another 2 or 3 years. He added that frozen Russian assets, if released by the EU, would fund either weapons or reconstruction, depending on how the war unfolds.
About 200 Russian troops are currently deployed in various areas of the city of Pokrovsk. As observed through our drones, the city is now the main target of the Russians.
The Kremlin says reports that France may send troops to Ukraine are deeply worrying. Russian spokesman Dmitry Peskov accused Kiev of blocking peace talks and dodging Moscow's questions on future proposals. Meanwhile, Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service claims President Macron is preparing to deploy 2,000 French troops to Ukraine, allegedly to distract from what Moscow calls his political and economic failures at home.
Regarding the information from the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service about French troops in Ukraine, it is alarming, although on the other hand, our military constantly listens to foreign speech and foreign languages on radios along the line of contact, meaning this, foreigners are there and we are eliminating them.
And finally, it's time to catch up on other news stories making headlines in the News in Brief with Sophia Kinturi this time.
A Lebanese man died from wounds sustained earlier Zionist drone strikes in southern Lebanon. The national news agency reported the victim joins another man killed instantly when a Zionist warplane hit a vehicle in Abatia. A small plane carrying 12 people crashed on Tuesday in Kenya, according to the Kenyan Civil Aviation Authority, which gave no further details on the casualties. The United States and Japan announced a new deal to reduce global reliance on China for rare earth minerals. The White House said the agreement signed in Tokyo by President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Sani Takaichi aims to boost self-sufficiency in securing vital resources for high-tech industries and modern batteries. WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala warned that the global trading system faces its biggest disruption in 80 years, urging broad reforms while noting that 87% of the world trade remains under WTO rules.
And with this, we reach the end of our news for tonight. To catch up on any part you missed or get the latest updates, you can always visit our social media platforms. On behalf of all 24 News team, I'm Karim Zachary. Thank you for watching and do take care.